First off, Chief, for folks who aren't familiar with this new ordinance, tell us about it.
Well, it prohibits and limits people from sleeping in the airport, unless, of course, your flight is delayed or you're stuck here at the airport or something of that nature. Certainly that can be gone around. But the reality is we really can't have people living in the airport, and that's what was taking place.
How big of a problem was it having homeless people sleeping here at the airport?
Well, there's about a dozen or more people that were sleeping here for up to 2 months at a time. And we talked with them, cajoled them, asked them to leave, and then it presents other problems because airports aren't meant for living. I mean, there's hygiene issues. The people had animals that were, animals, again, shouldn't be living here because of hygiene purposes. And so it was a pretty difficult problem for, the airport, for traveling passengers, for employees, as well as the general public.
And before the ordinance actually went into effect, you warned a lot of these people and gave them information.
So when council passed the ordinance, you have a 30-day waiting period, and we used that time to really market to the people who were living here that this is no longer a place they can be. And starting on the 11th, we wanted them to know that they could no longer be here. And so we had flyers in English and in Spanish, gave them resource opportunities, and directed them right place. Sent a couple people home to their families in other states and actually had one different nation. So we did as much as we could do. And then when it came enforcement day and we told them that was coming, there was nobody left.
Why would they come here to the airport? It seems like a long walk in here.
Well, when you don't have a resource of shelter over your head, this seems like a good place. And then we had one homeless individual who was marketing to other homeless people that this is a good place to be. And even though we tried to explain that it's not healthy for everybody, including the homeless, that person was able to get a dozen or so people here and staying here.
So there was a homeless person bringing other homeless people here.
Yeah, we were told that she was encouraging other homeless to stay here in the airport. And that's why, because of the air conditioning, because of the living environment, and so forth. But the reality is she's no longer here. The others are no longer here, and the traveling passengers can, I think, take great comfort that they can come in and out of the airport and there shouldn't be any problems.
How long has this been a problem at the airport?
It's been about a half of a year or so where we've had a significant issue. And again, thankful to council that they were able to put together an ordinance that would shape how the airport is used.
So tell me what happened today. Today was the first day the ordinance actually went into effect.
Well, today the ordinance went into effect and we had crickets. I mean, there was nothing left. In fact, one person was sleeping here, and we went up and checked on the person. It was a traveling passenger who got stranded overnight, and a very nice lady from Seattle was just trying to get back home, and talked with her for a few minutes, and we'll help her get on her way as best we can. But there's nobody left.
So it seems like this was successful.
Well, I think that's what happens when the airport, city government, the police, and the homeless all work together to find solutions rather than just kicking people to the curb. We don't want to do that. We want to work with them as much as we can, but there is a line, and once that line has been set, we have to make sure that people understand that we are going to take enforcement action.
Do you anticipate that now this will no longer be an issue here at the airport?
Well, we'll sustain it. I mean, that's why we have people here at the airport 24/7, and we want to make sure that people are not violating that ordinance, and that we will take enforcement action as long as they have been warned. And we keep pretty close record on that kind of thing. So we'll be able to make sure that this does not reoccur as a problem.
And for the folks who don't follow the law, who come back here, what could happen to them?
Well, they can be cited, and then if it continues, it was a misdemeanor as it was passed, so we can take them to jail. Jail may not keep them, but as long and as often as it takes, we will make sure that that enforcement is done.
Anything else, Chief, you would like to say? I know that you've been busy with Operation Relentless Sun. It seems like there's a lot of work happening right now in our city to clean up the homeless situation.
You know, we're in this for the long haul, and I know that some people get uncomfortable with seeing homeless people in different places around town, but I think we have to understand it's not the status of the person. We're interested in the behaviors of the people, and so we will take the enforcement action as needed on the behaviors, not the status. And just because there's a homeless person doesn't mean they're committing a crime, and people have to understand that, even though it might make them uncomfortable. Our responsibility is to make sure that people are abiding by the ordinances and laws of the state and the city. That's where law enforcement steps in. So we are working on it. We're seeing some great progress in some areas and not great progress in other areas, but we're going to continue to be persistent and to be thoughtful about how we do this and work with the community.
It was less than a week ago that we were here. We saw more than a dozen homeless people. Today, not one. Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised because, again, when you take the time to really market correctly and let people know what the expectation is and let them know that you are going to be, certain, swift, and fair, that people will abide by the laws and the direction you're giving them, for the most part. But there still does have to be that larger effort to say, look, we are going to hold you accountable. And I think that's what people understood.
Anything else, Chief, you would like to say?
No, Peter, thank you.
Thank you.